Okay, we are live. Hi there. Welcome to my channel. I am Brittany Flammer. I am a financial coach, and I have this YouTube channel here where I show videos about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. I like to share my budget every single month. I share it at the beginning of the month, what my plan is, and then at the end of the month, I show what it actually looked like because life never goes according to plan, and the budget doesn't go according to plan. I don't get a lot of views on these videos. I don't make very much money at all on ads with these money, but I like to share them because it shows how I make the budget work for me. And I find the people that do watch them are really appreciative. I like to do this one at the end live so that you can ask questions if you have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my spreadsheet. I like to use a spreadsheet. A lot of people, I don't care what you use. If you use a budgeting app, there are a lot of great apps. You can use pen and paper, whatever works for you. If you do like spreadsheets, you can snag mine. I'll put a link. It's in the description box or also in the chat. But I don't care what you use. The same method applies, the same principles apply, whether you're using an app or a spreadsheet or pen and paper. So let me go ahead and pull up my spreadsheet. Okay. I am going ahead and start. This was a huge month for us. As you can see, my husband, his income, we budgeted $58.66 and he got $58.83. I don't know why it was $17 over. I have no clue, but I'm not going to argue. So that is nice. That's expected. Now, we also had a lot of extra money. We got our tax refund this month. This is our federal and state refund. Which is huge. And I'll show you later on how we are going to spend it. We also got a refund from our trip to Ecuador. I don't know if you've been following along with me. Last summer, right after school got out, we were planning a 2-week trip to Ecuador with our family. We were going to spend the first week volunteering with Volunteer HQ. And then the second week, we were going to vacation, go to the beach, through the rainforest, travel with our kids. My husband needed to renew his passport and our kids' passports had expired. So we had to pay for some of the volunteering. We also bought our tickets, non-refundable tickets. And then we got our kids, we had to get everyone's passports. Mine was still good, but all the rest we had to get. We paid to expedite them and they were supposed to be ready within 7 to 11 weeks. And then we expedited them, which means it's supposed to be 4 to 7 weeks. Even after expediting them, they took 15 weeks to arrive. So they arrived like a week after we were supposed to take the trip. So we lost all of the money for our flights, which was about $4,000. And then we had already paid money for volunteering. They were great to work with us. They said we could transfer it to any other location. We just had to do it within a year. So we were going to go this spring break to Ecuador instead. But flights were like $7,000 to $8,000 for our family. So we decided not to do that. So we canceled and I didn't think we were going to get any money back, but they refunded us $490 for what we had paid for volunteering. So that was totally unexpected, but extra $400, almost $500 is awesome. Then my business, we don't plan on me making any money, but this month I had my biggest month ever. $32.58 is what I made. This is my take home pay. So when I get paid, I set aside a little bit to reinvest back into my business. And I set aside some for taxes and then everything else is my take home pay. So this was my biggest month, but we don't plan anything. So I didn't put anything here because we try to live off of my husband's income. And then my money has been going towards our mortgage, or now we're changing that, but we don't live off of my income. So we didn't budget anything for that. Then I got $81 from a consignment sale. Every fall and spring where we live, they do consignment sales. In the past, this is where I did like all of our clothes shopping. Where we live now, they're not as great. But I have been saving clothes. We donate a ton, but ones that are nicer, better brands, still in good shape, I'll put aside in a bin. And I've had the thought that maybe I would do the consignment, but I haven't. But I looked at our budget. I saw that we were running low in our clothing category and I wanted to buy new Easter outfits for the kids. So I decided to do consignment sale this spring. $81 is what I got after all the fees and everything, which was enough to buy Easter stuff for my kids. So it's only $81, but it wasn't that much work for me and it worked out. Next, we have a $10,730 transfer. So I mentioned that with my business, I set aside money for taxes and to reinvest into my business. All of that money I've accumulated for over a year. It's like a year and a half. We ended up, when we filed our taxes, I did not have to pay anything. We have so much held for my husband, and we have 5 kids, that we did not have to pay anything for taxes. So all of that money I'd set aside for taxes for my business, I transferred over for us to spend. And then also I've been setting aside money. I had almost 5,000. I've been toying with the idea of taking some courses to become a certified financial planner. All of the money I had set aside for that, we decided I'm going to postpone that. Now's not the time I want to do that. We're transferring all of that money. So that was $10,700 to go towards our garage and addition that we're building. We just want to get it finished and done, and we want to cash flow everything. So I will put my business goals on hold for right now, and we're going to put all that money towards our garage to get it done. So that's all the money for my business over like a year and a half. Then $12,000 from my parents. We have a lot of cash for our garage. We've gone through and priced out how much we think everything will be. We should have enough for everything. We have a little bit of extra to cover, but as if you've ever done any projects, things always end up being more expensive than planned. And also we have to put deposits down, and I'm not sure when, like we should have enough, but my parents said we could borrow money. So we borrowed $12,000 from them. We shouldn't need the money, but just to make sure we've got the money, we are making it easy for cash flow. So we have the $12,000 in our account for our garage. In theory, when the garage is done, we'll just transfer that $12,000 back to them. But if we do need to use it, we could borrow and pay them back. But I'm hoping we shouldn't need to use it. Just, we're talking huge transactions. My husband is also taking a group of 14 kids to Germany for a study abroad, and we pay for everything and they pay us. So we just bought tickets and it was like $28,000. So I just like having that extra cushion for the cash flow if there's a gap between when we pay for something and students pay for us. So that $12,000 is helping as a cushion. And I know we are very blessed to have parents that are willing to do that and that can do that. Also interest, we have a lot of money in online savings accounts, and this 159 is how much we earned in interest. So our total income for March, by far, this is more than we used to make in a year, a couple years ago, $42,106 for the month. Don't you wish we could have that every month? That'd be pretty awesome. But here's how our expenses break down. Tithing, we only budgeted $900, so we went way over because I made a lot more money than expected. We did pay some tithing on our tax refund because a lot of it was just for the child tax credit. So we paid more on that. So we paid almost $500 more in tithing than normal because of that. So then onto our borrowing expenses. Our mortgage was the same, exactly what we expected, $1,376. Our electricity was a lot higher than expected. It was $84.57. We have solar panels, but we usually run out of solar around February, March timeframe before the sun starts shining again where we live. So we know that in this time of year, usually our electric bill goes up a little bit, but I put it on levelized payment. So I thought it was only gonna be 25, but it hasn't kicked into effect. So next month it will just be 25. So we went over there by almost $60. Our natural gas is on an average payment plan, so it was exactly $142. Our city bill was exactly what we expected at $109.49. This is my term life insurance. It is exactly what we expected at $11.10. Our car insurance was a couple dollars under at $104.77. Our phone bill was exactly what we expected at $30. Our internet was a lot less than expected because last month we stayed with the same provider, but we changed our plan and we actually upgraded to get faster internet, but they were doing a special. So it is I believe the plan is $55 for the month, but we had already paid our $71 because it's just on auto pay. So we had a little extra credit. So it's only $39.56 this month, but next month it will be higher than that. Gas for our cars, we went over by $24. But we just barely gassed up a vehicle, so we're good for the month. And gas prices have started rising again. They're almost $4 where we live, $4 a gallon, which is kind of sad because it went down. Piano for this is one child to do piano, exactly what we expected. Preschool, exactly what we expected at 125. Groceries, okay, we went way over here. And usually I'm pretty good about trying to stick to our budget. We spent $825. There are several things. One, I went to the store to get a couple of things for Easter, and they had a ton of things on sale, like chicken and strawberries were a great price. So I stocked up on chicken, and I hadn't planned on that. And I stocked up on strawberries to make jam. I bought like 16 or 20 pounds of strawberries to make jam. And then also, while I was at the store, the person behind me I was at Winco and they didn't have a debit card. They only had a credit card. They didn't realize. So I bought their groceries and it wasn't very much, but still. So that's why I went over. So I knew I was going to go over and I didn't feel that bad about it. So eating out, we stayed under budget, $29.77. Miscellaneous, we spent $24. Entertainment, $10.55. Kids money, they stopped marking off their charts, so we only paid them $14.50. And then babysitting, our kids did do some babysitting, but rather we didn't end up paying them. I think we just bought some stuff for them while we were at the store. So that would have come out of our budget somewhere else. So we can just put in a zero there. So total expenses, $3,201. So we went over by about $77. But let's move on. This is where I would focus on debt, but we don't have any outstanding debt. We are other than our mortgage. And our mortgage, we've already accounted for right up here in our expenses. So we do use credit cards, but we pay them off every month. So we don't have any outstanding debt. So we can go on to our savings and our emergency fund. Oh, I forgot to check. So we did not plan to put anything in there, but we do usually get interest in our emergency fund. It's in an online savings account. We earn interest. So I'll have to add that. I can't remember the exact amount. I forgot to add it in. Right around $70 we earned in the emergency fund. So I'll have to go and double check when I'm done here, but we should have $16,147 in there. My husband gets $50 for his personal money and for his bike maintenance. He didn't spend anything, so he's got $759 in his account. My fund money, $25. I didn't spend anything, so now I have $221 in my account. Our life insurance, we just set aside $68 each month. It's not due for a while, so we now have $350 in that account. And this is my husband's term insurance. This is $1 million policy for my husband. It works out to be $68 per month. House maintenance, we budgeted $125. We put $125 in. We did spend $177. I don't even remember what that was. We bought chicks. We got baby chicks, a bunch. We got 14 baby chicks. We bought a bunch of chicken food for our older chickens. And I know we bought some other stuff, but I don't even remember. So we have 151 left in our house maintenance budget. Our vacation budget, we budgeted $150, but we ended up putting $650. So this isn't an online savings account. We earned about $10 of interest in there. We put the $150 we had budgeted, but then also that refund from our Ecuador trip, the $490, we put back into our vacation fund. So we now have $702 for vacation. And this week is spring break. We decided not to take a trip. Our kids voted not to do anything over spring break and to do a bigger trip this summer. So we have a few months to save up. So right now we have 702 in there. Now our house updates, we didn't budget anything, but we put 33,000 in here. Let me explain why we put so much in here. All of that money we borrowed from my parents, we put in here. All of the money from my business that we transferred over, we put into our garage fund or the house updates fund. But then also all of the money we had, this used to be our extra mortgage payment. All of the money I've been earning from my work, we've been setting aside in an online savings account, and our plan is to put that towards our mortgage. But we have decided all of that, we have decided to put into our garage budget to finish our garage, and we have an apartment above it. So we think we're going to try renting it out as an Airbnb. So all of that money we have put towards the garage so we can just hurry and get it done. So I deleted our extra mortgage payment savings and put it all here into our garage fund. Also, majority of our tax refund went into this, not all of it, but a lot of it. So we we did spend $8,531. We had the roof put on. So we had already paid a deposit, but that's the remainder. We owed another $3,000 on the roof. We put a deposit down for the garage doors. And what else did we do? I can't remember what else. Oh, we bought the mini split systems. So it's for the air conditioning. We got 3 different units for my husband's shop, for upstairs in the apartment. So we spent all of that. So we now have almost $26,000 left on the garage. And that will include insulating, sheetrock. We've already done most of the plumbing and electrical. We've already bought in a lot of the like faucets and fixtures and all that stuff, but all the finished stuff. Okay, so clothing. We budgeted $75, but I put $156 in. I put the $75 in, but then also the $81 I earned from that consignment sale. We spent $191 on Easter stuff for all my kids and a couple pairs of shoes, I think. So we have $23 left in there. Gifts, we budgeted $25, put $25 in. We have $68 left. Medical, we budgeted $100, put $100 in. We spent $361. I bought a pair of glasses, and we paid for contacts for someone that wasn't covered through insurance. So we spent $361. So we now have $1,264 in there. Car expenses, we budgeted $75. We put $198 in, a little bit of our tax refund. We put the $75 in, and then $123 because I know we're going to have to pay registration fees for all of our vehicles, and I knew we were going to be a little bit shy, so I just put a little bit of our tax refund in there to cover that. So we have $369 in there. Christmas, we budgeted $50, put $50 in. We've got $163. Kids extracurricular, I budgeted $300. We put in $1,300. We put in the $300 plan, but then I also put in $1,000 from our tax refund to pay, because then we ended up paying. We had a great deal on our season ski passes. It was for our family of 7. It would normally be $1,300 or $1,400. But they were doing an early bird special, and then I had an extra coupon code for going to this home and garden show. So anyways, ended up being just over $1,000 for our entire family, buying them so early for next year. So we have $185 left in there. My husband's Roth IRA, we budgeted $400, put $400 in. My Roth IRA, we budgeted $400, put $400 in. Mutual funds, non-retirement investment, we budgeted $100, put $100 in it. So our total savings was $37,066, which means our total expenses were total spending, including what we transferred to saving, was over $41,000. So if we look at this, we see I have $463 left. What I would normally do is take most of this and put it into one of our sinking funds, either our vacation or maybe our garage. But I am not going to do that right now. I am just going to leave it into our checking account. I do like to have a buffer there. So maybe I'd leave the 63 in and transfer the 400 to somewhere else. But one of my really good friends, her husband just died. She doesn't need financial help right now, but so I haven't spent any money or donated anything to her. She doesn't need anything right now, but I know that she's going to need help, and I might put that money towards taking her out to lunch once a month, once a week, doing something, taking her on a trip sometime. I don't know, but I don't want to put it somewhere else. So I'm just leaving it right there in our checking for now, so that I have that and can spend it without feeling any guilt or having to pull up from anywhere. So that is our budget. Now I will take our end balance of all of these. I'll copy them over to my April budget with my spreadsheet. I like to do this live so that I can answer any questions. For those of you that are on here, feel free to type in your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I respond to comments. I do my best to respond to them within a couple of days. But make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell. I have lots of videos on money saving tips. Also, budgeting apps. If you don't like using a spreadsheet, there are lots of high yield savings accounts I recommend. I'm also doing some research right now and filming videos on investing options for people. So any questions you have, leave a comment. If you need help with your budgeting, feel free to schedule a call with me from my website. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. I will see you in the next video.